On today's episode of You Asked, are there any premium TVs that support the Roku operating system? Why doesn't the Sony Bravia 7 get more respect? And a few additions to the best TVs of 2025. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. This is You Asked, the show where we answer your tech questions. If you've got something you want to know, send your question to youasked@digitaltrends.com. And don't forget to tune into the show to see if your question has been selected. If you didn't notice from the intro to this week's episode, we're going with a little bit of a theme and discussing some of the top recommended TVs available. In fact, these questions came from our comments to our Best TVs video. So think of it almost as a continuation. That video discussed what we picked as some of the best in 3 different price tiers. But as many have pointed out, there may be some holes. So I recommend you check out that video in addition to this one to form the whole picture. Also, this probably won't be the last time we hit on this topic, mainly because it is shopping season, and once the 2026 TVs get announced and become available next year, the best 2024 and 2025 TVs could see even more discounts. All right, let's get to it. BPO Wick asks, should the Sony Bravia 7 be included in the mid-tier list? I'm always confused about the opinions of this TV. So many reviewers say it's so close in many ways to the Bravia 9, which many claim is the best mini LED TV you can buy, yet so few reviewers recommend it. So I think the thing to keep in mind with most reviews and comparisons, at least in my opinion, is they're often splitting hairs and sometimes they're a bit subjective as well. Having seen many of the best TVs available since 2023 with my own eyes, I think there was only one that I was kinda meh on. But even that one could push out a high quality image if the content was good quality. It just didn't do such a great job in the upscaling department compared to the competition. It was the Vizio Quantum Pro, since I know you'll ask, and you can check out our review to see the results. But seriously, in an ideal viewing scenario, usually a room where we can control most of the light, all of the TVs are gonna look great and be excellent performers. And I say all that to point out that the Sony Bravia 7 is a great TV. I don't know the stats, but I'd venture to say that it's a better TV than those that are in most homes in America. It looks great and has all the features you'd wanna see in a premium mini LED TV. And certainly if it were all that's available, there would be no complaints in reviews. But that's where subjectivity and comparisons play a significant role. The Sony Bravia 7 is not the only mini LED TV available. It's also not the most competitively priced, or at least it wasn't when it came out in 2024. And compared to what you get from the competition, especially with 2025 TVs now available, fewer probably recommend it. The 2024 Hisense U8N and 2025's U8QG are both brighter and handle reflections better than the Bravia 7. TCL's 2024 and 2025 versions of the QM8 do the same. They don't offer the same level of HDR accuracy or picture processing as Sony, but they're also generally hundreds of dollars cheaper. Samsung's top-tier mini LED TV options offer 4 HDMI 2.1 ports instead of just 2 on the Sony, and they have a faster refresh rate. The Bravia 7 also has a more narrow viewing angle, which doesn't help either. Now, as of publishing this video, I see the Bravia 7 on sale for about $1,200, so that changes the conversation a little bit. But when it was floating around its retail price ranging from $1,700 to $1,900, there was just better bang for your buck elsewhere. In the camera world, it's the same thing. If you keep up with that stuff, Sony just released a new hybrid camera, their A7 IV. It's phenomenal and does far more than what most people need and performs very reliably. I've been shooting for years on its predecessor here, the A7 IV, and I'll continue doing so until the wheels fall off. But if you just go out on social media and search for content about the A7 IV, you'll probably see some negative takes. Not because it's a bad camera at all, but because it's just not everyone's cup of tea, and somewhat subjectively, there's better value from competitors. That's where I think the Bravia 7 is in the TV world. Ironically, also a Sony product. Nothing wrong with it, not the best, definitely not the worst. There are just other options that bring a little more to the table, be that more HDMI 2.1 ports or a cheaper price, that make the Bravia 7 a harder recommendation. Next up, Aslan OG, I think that's how I'm supposed to say this, asks, are there any top TVs that support Roku? I know it tends to be lower end, but I do like the interface. Hey, I do as well. For most of my adult life, actually, I had an LG TV and used a Roku streaming stick for everything from YouTube TV to Prime, Netflix, Plex, all the things. So thank you for reminding me that the Roku Pro Series TV is a solid option that would fit well on the best TVs list. And I honestly should have mentioned it with its own title of Best TV that natively runs Roku's operating system. It's a 4K mini LED TV that supports both Dolby Vision and HDR10+, a rare find these days. It also has two HDMI 2.1 ports, a 120Hz refresh rate, and supports VRR. Not to mention, it's a good-looking TV that retails for $1,200 at the 65-inch size, but it's currently on sale for much less. But should you want a brighter TV with better features and processing, just get a Roku Ultra streaming box to go along with it. You'll get the same support for Dolby Vision and HDR10+, as well as Dolby Atmos and DTS digital surround audio. Without getting too deep into the weeds, I'd suggest a Samsung or LG model or the Hisense U75QG, all of which have 4 HDMI 2.1 ports, or the Hisense U8QG that has 3. That way you can have flexibility when it comes to connecting gaming consoles or external audio, in addition to the Roku Ultra, and then getting the best quality out of all of those devices. For the last question, we're gonna combine a pair of comments from Larry Hoffman 7471 and Borba Tomagus. I really have no idea how to say this username. Basically, their criticisms were that we left out truly budget TVs like the QM6K and below, and that calling the QM7K a budget TV, even at its holiday sale price, is a bit of a stretch. To both of those, I would agree. Good call out. Larry also added that there could have been a mention of even cheaper TVs, like really budget models without some of the features like full array local dimming that are still decent and not a waste of money. And some of the best TVs that are 50 inches or less would also be helpful for people who need TVs in smaller spaces. Yes, those comments, concerns, questions, they are totally fair, and I'll definitely take that into consideration on any future lists we make. I think my problem is a fear of the list being too long and including too many TVs, but in this case, it may have been a little too short and didn't take enough into consideration. I should know from all the questions you all send in to You Asked every week that there's a lot more to picking the best TV than just picking which 65-inch TVs work for most people. So that's my bad. But we can start to remedy some of the situation now. Let's start with TVs that are 50 inches or less. When it comes to premium TVs at that size, the choices are a little more limited since some brands only make their top models available at 55 or 65 inches or even larger. In terms of OLED, I love the Samsung S90F and LG C5. I've said it too many times to count, but they're just so good in terms of bang for your buck. Not the very, very best OLED TVs from either brand, but it's still OLED and they're still plenty bright enough for just about any situation. It's really splitting hairs for the most part. It just probably comes down to preference in terms of operating system, brand loyalty, and whether or not having Dolby Vision with the Samsung actually matters to you, since their TVs do not support Dolby Vision. The LG B5 is also great to save even more money. Not as bright, but in a room where you can control the light, it's an outstanding and premium TV for a great price. $650 on sale at the time of working on this video. For mini LED TVs, Samsung's QN90F is a great one to consider, and again, it's one of the few premium mini LED options at this size. Hisense, LG, Sony, none of them make their top tier mini LED TVs at a size smaller than 55 inches. TCL does have the QM5K available. It's a Best Buy exclusive model that does make a few compromises compared to the QM6K to come in at an even lower price. So in terms of even cheaper models that don't totally strip the TV down, that seems like a good option, though I haven't put eyes on that one myself. And that leads me to my final point. When it comes to some of the even cheaper models like Samsung's Crystal UHD series, for example, I just don't know them well enough. What I've listed are the TVs we've had time with or seen and experienced in person. And even if it's a TV that's just a few $100s, it doesn't sit right for me to recommend it if I don't know it well enough and haven't watched like sports, movies, shows, different kinds of content on it. I'd hate for anyone to be disappointed because of it based on a recommendation that isn't totally genuine. For what it's worth, I stayed at an Airbnb 2 weeks ago that had a Samsung CU7000 in the living room. I watched the Cowboys-Lions game on Prime with it, and I had zero issues, especially in terms of brightness. So if you're looking at a similar model of Samsung TV, I guess take that into account, that it's a decent watch for sports and bright enough in SDR, but I can't vouch for everything on that TV nor others in that same range. Thanks everyone for those questions and comments. Like I said, we'll probably end up following up quite a bit on some of these lists we've put together, so keep the input coming because it helps as we make even more. If you found this video helpful, help us out by subscribing to the channel and dropping this video a like, and we'll see you again soon. Elevate your smartphone with the Digital Trends app bundle. 17 premium apps in one plan. From productivity to entertainment, it's all here. Start your free trial today by clicking the link in the description.